Can other people please go on mute? Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm Shalini Madhupati from USF Mumbai, and I'm honored to be a host for the day. My journey with USF started in 2016 when the USF program just started in Mumbai. The agenda for today's session is that in the first half, I'll be asking a few questions to Neerja ma'am, and in the second half, I'll be opening the floor to Q&A. So Shalini, please drop in your questions in the chat box, and I will be handpicking them. Also, because this is a virtual session, do shower your love using the Zoom reaction. Not wasting much of your time, let me now introduce you all to Neerja ma'am. 66 years ago, a happy and a passionate soul came down to earth to one of the most supportive parents. Neerja Malik, the Cancer Conqueror, is a pillar of strength to people in distress who need emotional, mental, psychological, and spiritual support from all over the world. And she's also an inspirational speaker. She is living her happy and adventurous life filled with love, courage, joy, positivity, and gratitude. She just not only completed her graduation in BA and social work, but is also a regular student of the University of Life. Broken bones, miscarriages, premature twins, stillborn, many surgeries, and cancer twice could not stop her from serving the society. She's a full-time cancer counselor to patients to patients having cancer and their family and friends. She started her Apollo Cancer Support Group in 2004 and inaugurated the Polachi Cancer Support Group in 2018. She believed intensely in God, the power of love, prayer, and deep sense of gratitude. She narrates her life journey in her book, I Inspire. She is a TEDx speaker and a contributor to countless articles. She is a recipient of many awards and honors, including Positive Health Award, Women Achiever Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, and Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All Award. I welcome you, Neerja ma'am, once again.
Thank
So
you
my
so
first
much.
question,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. So my first question to you is, how was your childhood, and what were your dreams back then?
Okay. Uh, Thank you so much, Shalinis. I am so happy to be here with all of you. And I want you to feel, not that you are being addressed by someone, I want you to feel that I'm a friend of yours. Because this is not only for your benefit, this is for my benefit. Because when I am talking and dealing with and communicating with the young ones, I suddenly feel very young. So I want to tell you that the amount of strength, the amount of wonderful vibrations that all you 100 Shalinis and Fahim and a couple of gentlemen here are sending me, I'm very grateful for. Thank you so much. Yes, so Madhu, to get back to what you said, I'm thinking about your question because sometimes they are doers and sometimes they are dreamers. Sometimes dreamers can become doers and doers can become dreamers. But I think what has happened in my life that I've always been doing. So can we say that I have dreamt with my eyes open while I'm doing? So I have been so busy doing things that I haven't spent much time dreaming about what I'm doing. But this is the point I want to make here. And this question of yours is very important, Madhu, because I haven't spent any time thinking about doing and dreaming. But what I want you children to realize is that in doing, you can dream, and while you are dreaming, you can do. So I have been so busy doing things in my life that I haven't had time to dream. But if you think about dreaming while awake and doing, that's what I've been doing. I don't know how much this answers your question. But if you say, ma'am, what were you doing? Or Neerja, what were you doing? So when I was little, if there was a wall, I had to climb it. If there was a tree, I had to climb it. If there was water body, I had to jump into it. And whatever was in front of my eyes, I realized now, 66 years later, that I have enjoyed living every moment of my life. And these are the takeaways that I want you to take from my talk to you, because my talk to you is not prepared. It's heart to heart. And I want you to pick up that which is most important, that will help you live life. And how do you live life? You live life to the fullest. How do you live life to the fullest? By enjoying whatever you're doing. So if it's taking a dog for a walk, enjoy it. If it's washing dishes, enjoy it. Making your bed, enjoy it. Studying, enjoy it. Listening to music, enjoy it. Dancing, enjoy it. मतलब के जोशीला दिल रखो, जिंदा दिल रहो, and all the mushkils, all the difficulties you will find will disappear into nothingness. So what does it come down to? Everything boils down, bachas, to one simple fact. And that fact is focus your entire being. Now, what does our being consist of? You know, there's four main aspects: PMES: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Now, if your whole being is focused in doing something, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to drink water. I'm thinking of water, I'm feeling thirsty, and I see this water, and I am so grateful to God that there is water in a cup that I can drink from. Okay? Mm. I've taken a little time to drink the water, but because I did it with my full being, I enjoyed the water. So whether you're going through good times or bad times, if you just do it with a sense of focus, with a sense of living every minute, every second, you will benefit. Yes, you will say, what do I know about bad times and good? So, to cut a very long story short, let me tell you that I was a naughty child, so I started off with a lot of broken bones. And my mother would tell me, everything happens for the best. And I would look at my mother and say, what's the matter with my mother? I've broken a bone, I've fractured my wrist, I can't write. You know what was the best thing that happened? I became ambidextrous. What is the meaning of ambidextrous? I was born right-handed, but I kept breaking my right wrist. It was perpetually in a plaster, whether I was sliding down the banisters, whether I fell off a horse, whether I fell off a cycle. I learned to write and use my left hand. I have done exams with my left hand. So now in retrospect, I realize when my mother said, everything happens for the best, yes. Now I am using both sides of my brain. by default. And so everything happens for the best. So now the learning from this, I'm sorry I keep breaking my talk because I am thinking that I am between the ages of, I think, Madhu, 18 to 20, can about that much. So
Yes,
I am thinking that I am that old. Well, actually, I believe I'm only 6 years old, but I am thinking that I am your age. What would I like to learn from someone who has lived life? What are the things I can pick up? So I might keep breaking my conversation with you to tell you that bachas, make a note of this. Beta, think of this because these are important. And if I had learned it when I was your age, I would have been way better off. Okay? So I don't mean to lecture you, bachas, but I want to share with you those things that I feel I would have benefited if I had learned them when I was your age. ठीक है ना? So, positivity, that you will always see the good and the bad in everything. You will come to a fork in life when you have to decide, मैं इधर जाऊं या उधर जाऊं. The choice is yours. It's not difficult to be positive. Not at all. Do you know what my blood group is? My blood group is A, be positive. There was a movie, वो क्या नाम था? Anil Kapoor. The whole movie he said, be positive because his blood group was be positive. But I have to be one step better. My blood group is A, B positive. So A, be positive. ठीक है ना? Now the other thing is, I'm sure that you know that if you repeat something again and again and again and again, it becomes second nature. It becomes a habit. Why do they keep saying something about being perfect? Practice maketh perfect. So if you make it a practice to think positive, then you will be thinking positively without any effort. It'll become second nature. So, what happens when something becomes second nature? It becomes easy to do. So, you don't have to waste that much time thinking, oh, should I do this or should I do that? Is this negative? Is this positive? And automatically veer towards the positive. And you say, what is this positive, positive, positive? Ajkal to we shy. We want to be COVID negative. We don't want to be COVID positive, right? But being positive is good, not only for the people around you, but for yourself. And why is it important to do things for yourself? Now, I'm going to tell you a very simple thing. They say that we are made in the image of God. And God is supposed to be happiness, joy, bliss, Sat Chit Anand, right? Bliss, consciousness, knowledge, truth. So if we remember all those things and we remember that we are made in the image of God, then what will help us? That it is my birthright to be happy. It is my birthright to be healthy. It is my birthright to be at peace. It is my birthright to be content. It is my birthright to be grateful for all the good that is happening in my life. And when I am grateful. Guess what happens? I am filled with abundance. I went to a school and I started talking about the law of attraction. So these kids started, giggling, sniggering, law of attraction. And then I told them, I said, listen, I'm not talking about the attraction between a boy and a girl. I am talking about the attraction that if I am a positive person, I will attract positivity. And if I'm a negative person, logically, I will attract negativity. So let me give you a little example. I've woken up in the morning and I've gone and... Sorry? Is someone saying something to me? Madhu?
Everybody are requested to be on mute, please.
No, it was some technical glitch.
Oh, all right, sorry. Yeah, I get so busy and carried away with talking. Sometimes I don't listen to what people are trying to tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was I saying now? Yes. So I've got up in the morning. I've gotten out of my bed. And I have, while turning, hit my toe against the bed, the leg of the bed. Now I have two options. The option I have is I scream, I shout, I get angry, I get upset. Why is this happening? How could it happen? Or sometimes when we hurt ourselves, what do we do? If we get a hit here, we hold it. Aajkal in the movies, if someone gets slapped, what happens? The slap happens 3 times. Right? So, what will I do if I've hurt my thumb? I will catch it. What happens when I catch it? I feel that the pain will be less. But what we don't realize, children, is that when we do that, it reduces the pain. Why? Because our hands have healing capacity. So, especially someone hits you or if something pokes you, your automatic reaction is to rush to that place and hold the hand, or to hold your face, or to hold your elbow, or to hold your knee, or your hip, wherever the pain is. We do it as a reflex action. What we don't realize is that each of us have a healing power in our hands. And if each of us was given that knowledge when we are little, imagine the power we would have. Just think about it. Anything happens to you, I don't need to go to a doctor. I can start healing myself. I can start with just holding the place that is hurt, healing, hurting. Wow. Imagine, children. Now, what happens to the mind? I was telling you what I went through. So I had a naughty childhood. I broke a lot of bones, where my mother said everything happens for the best. And I said, what? And I realized it happens. Everything happens for the best. Or it doesn't happen. There is always a lesson. Any setback, anything going wrong, remember, there is a lesson, a little lesson for us to learn. And if we learn that lesson and we move on in life, nothing better than that. So I did my graduation, as Madhu told you, I did my graduation in social work. I worked in schools as a social worker. Then I did my B.Ed. I worked in schools as nursery helper. Also worked in school as the 4th standard class teacher. I did a lot of that, and then God said, now that she loves to talk to people, now that she has done her social work and her B.Ed, she has the gift of the gab, and she can communicate well. People love to confide in her. Now let me give her experience in the, as Madhu said, University of Life. So I had a lot of miscarriages. I lost a child, it's called stillborn. I had a stillborn in the 8th month. My twins were born 12 years after marriage. They were 2 months and 5 days premature. I was in a nursing home for 1 month before they were born because my blood pressure was 270 by 140. So while I was pregnant with them, I used to have high blood pressure medicine like Aldomet and Depen, and the doctors put me into a nursing home so that they could keep myself and my twins under observation. So you know what? Every hour, on the hour, there is something called a small machine that checks the fetal heartbeat. I wish I could understand. Is that Marathi? So,
Yes, Marathi.
okay, thank you. So, see, this is what happens when you grow a little old, you kind of lose the trend of what you're thinking and saying. So I was hospitalized for a month, and every hour, on the hour, whether it was day or night, the heartbeats were changed. And my son sat in one place, and you could hear it boop, 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 boop. You could never find the other one. She was swimming all over. So these are the things. And after they were born 2 months and 5 days prematurely, I went through cancer twice. I had to have a lot of surgeries. 3 years back, I went through septicemia. But all I am trying to tell you is that I never lost my faith in God. I had a wonderful support system. My father, mother, my in-laws, my husband, my children, my sister. So, family support, I was very lucky. And belief and faith in God, I was very lucky because it was from within. And I always say that my parents were not God fearing, they were God loving. So you see the difference. You fear God or you love God. So that is what my sister and I have grown up with. A feeling in our hearts that we love God, that He loves us, that we say, na, Mother, Father, God. We have that strength that He is going to take care of us. So I want to tell you that I've been through a lot, but I never felt that I'm being through a lot because I had faith, I had support, there was prayers, and I always felt that I am taken good care of. Why? There's something called surrender. So I have, now this is something that I want you people, I want you children to pay attention to because this has helped me in life. You would say, my God, she's gone through so many problems. And people look at me and say, you're still laughing and you're still smiling. Why? What is the secret? The secret is that I tell God very clearly, hey, buddy, You've given me all these problems. Now it's your problem to give me the solution. I'm free. Now, if I didn't think like that, imagine if I said, this is my problem, this is what I went through, this is what happened, oh my God, what will happen next? They call it beja fry. If I thought like that, I would have a beja fry. But if I surrender my problems at the feet of someone I can trust, I have no problem. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That, okay, you've given me the problem, theek hai. I'm not fighting the fact that you've given me a problem. There must be something good in that. My mother always says, always think good in it. Okay, give it to me. But you've given me the problems, you're responsible. So you are responsible to give me the answers, to give me the solution, so that I don't get hassled. I don't get worried. I don't get, oh my God, nahi, nahi. Nothing like that. You give me the problem, give me the solution. मैं तो free हूँ. बता दो मुझे क्या करना है, मैं कर लूँगी. But I'm happy. I'm healthy. All is well. All is well, like the Three Idiots. And tackle one day at a time. So I'm going to give you some very simple examples which will make you understand how I face life, how I move forward, and how I absolutely enjoy everything. Madhu, please keep asking me questions. Otherwise, I can talk for 5-6 hours at a stretch. And you might even have your dinner. You might even go to sleep, wake up. I'll still be talking. Okay.
So, yes, ma'am. So, the movie listen to you, and that's movie want to hear you because you're simply energetic. Okay, I'll just put. So, my next question to you is that the people of my generation easily give in to what the society says. And looking at the obstacles in your life, the society would have obviously said something or the other. How did you manage to deal with that social dilemma? And what do you suggest us to, not to pay heeds to what log kya kehte hain?
So, a simple thing. I've been diagnosed with cancer, and people are coming to meet me. They're coming to meet me, and now look at the dilemma. I'm the one who's supposedly going through the big C. I'm going through cancer. And they're coming to meet me to make me feel better. But they're coming to me and looking at me as if I've got one foot in the grave. So they're looking at me very uncomfortably. They don't know, they're not looking at me in the eye. They're looking away. They're twiddling their fingers. Poor things, they're so uncomfortable. So how did I deal with that? Let's start with what my experiences are. I realized that they don't know how to deal with this situation. They are behaving as if they've come for a condolence meeting. You understand a condolence meeting? Ye to go and gone ho gaya. So what was my task? My task is to make people around me feel better. And how can I do that? By making them at ease. So I start talking, I start smiling, and soon I realize that there is a change coming over into the room. And they are thinking to themselves, she's the one who's sick, and we are behaving as if we are sick. And what is the example she's giving us? That everything is good, everything is normal. So why can't we behave like that? I didn't say anything. I didn't say, no, please don't feel sorry for me. No, I don't need your self-pity. I don't need your pity. I just behaved like a normal, happy human being. And what did they do? They took the example. So this is something else that I want you, Shalinis, to understand. That when you live a life of example, you don't have to catch people and say, listen to me, this is what I did. And if you do it, you will benefit. No. What do? I do my own thing, and I do it well, and I do it with love and with feeling. And जो समझदार हैं, those people who are intelligent, they will automatically pick up and learn from the example rather than being shaken and taught it. So this is something, if you want to change now, listen carefully. If you want to change the thinking of another person, there are 2-3 ways of doing it. One is to confront the person and say, hey, I don't like the way you think. Do you think it'll help? Not at all. They'll say, who are you? Tukanabe? Right? And you'll get into a fight. The other way to do it is to be an example, but sometimes that doesn't work, especially if you've had a fight with the person. Now, I'm going to give you a tip that I use very often. That tip is that supposing Madhu and I have had a fight, okay? And anytime I see Madhu, I want to catch hold of her neck and throttle it. I would love to, but I can't. Now, I don't even want to cut my nose and go and say, sorry, Madhu, that was my fault. Yeah, I'm really sorry. No, my ego will hurt. And Madhu will say, see, she had to come and apologize. So what do I do? How can I get the best of all the worlds? By accepting my mistake, which I don't want to do in front of Madhu, because it will give her the upper hand. Of accepting my mistake, of apologizing to you, Madhu, and at the same time, that tension which is between Madhu and I should dissipate and go away. How can I do it? Well, we all have something called a higher self. Now, that higher self is beyond ego, beyond hurt. It is pure and loving. I have that. I feel I know, but Madhu has that, and Madhu feels she knows, and we all have a higher self, which is beyond ego, beyond hurt. So how do I make use of this? I tell my higher self, Neerja's higher self, hey yaar, you know Madhu's higher self. Yeah. So do me a favor, yaar. Go to Madhu's higher self and tell Madhu's higher self that, I'm really sorry. It was my fault that Madhu and I are fighting. I'm really sorry. So I'm asking for forgiveness from Madhu's higher self, not Madhu. Madhu's higher self. And also, I forgive Madhu's higher self. Now, watch what happens. My higher self has no issues of ego, hurt, all that. Will happily go to Madhu's higher self and say, Madhu, yeah, this is what Neerja's higher self, that's Neerja's higher self is talking to Madhu's higher self and saying, forgive her, yeah. She is accepted, she's made the mistake. And Madhu's higher self says, no problem. Certainly. That's what I was going to do. Now, two things happen. Without my confronting Madhu and having an open fight or an open discussion, which, by the way, may not lead to proper stuff. There might be difficulties. My higher self has spoken to Madhu's higher self, and our higher selves have sorted out the issue. We've forgiven each other. There is something called vibrations. These vibrations are very important. So what happens now? Though Madhu and I are meeting, initially we are meeting with tension. But slowly and steadily and surely, when we meet again, that tension for some unknown reason to Madhu the person and Neerja the person is disappeared. And we are meeting like we were good friends before. So please try this out. If you want to change the thinking of someone, don't just go up to that person and shake that person and say, listen, you better change your thinking because this is what I feel you should be thinking so that you can be a better person. Won't work. Ask me. 66 years of experience. But if I want to change someone, in my mind, I think of them with love, with affection. I think of them the way I want them to be, even though they are not. And slowly after time, that is what happens. So I want to tell you again, bachas, that the mind is very powerful. Very powerful. We don't give it that much credit that it deserves. And that is why they say mind matters. And it's true. So if you think positively, if you think happy thoughts, if you think as you want the world to be around you harmonious, happy, peaceful, contented, then this is how you do things. You're part of the world, and yet you step back a little, you see what is happening around you, and put your whole self, your whole being, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, to make it a better place. I know that this may not be answering your questions, but there is a lot of truth in what I'm saying. And these are the little things that have helped me overcome a lot of things. And I feel that at this age, these are the things that can help each of you to grow and help people around you to grow also. Yes.
Thank you so much,
Okay, I
ma'am.
can't hear you.
This things really help
Madhu,
us
your
in our
voice is
lives.
cracking.
And obviously, as I said, Okay, am I audible now? Better now?
Little better.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, okay. I was saying that these things will really help us in understanding and dealing with the social dilemma of log kya kehte hain. Moving ahead to our next question, I wanted to ask you what moment in your life led to you title yourself as Cancer Conqueror and not just a cancer survivor?
Lovely. So, Madhu, when I was diagnosed 23 years back on Friday, the 13th of February, 1998, I ran to my father and I said, Papa, I'm going to fight cancer. You know what my father told me? Naval officer, Indian, from the Indian Navy, and a recipient of the mention and dispatches for the 1971 war, Aryan and soldier, warrior, captain of the ship. He told me, he said, Beta, why are you using the word fight? Fight is negative. Fight is aggressive. Fight is where I'm going to do something to you. So I'm standing in front of him and saying, what is he saying? And then he turned to me and he said, instead of using the word fight, why don't you use the word face? It took me a while to weigh the two words, fight cancer, face cancer. Now, when you talk about facing something, you all know that song, Hum Honge Kamyab, we shall overcome. It changes the perception that we shall overcome. I thought about it. And what he said impressed itself so much in my zehen or my psyche that I spread it to, I have counseled since 1998 thousands, millions of people and their family members and their friends. And to all of them, I said this. Whatever you do, forget cancer. Whatever you are facing, whatever problems are coming your ways, whatever adversities they are, don't fight it. Face it. Mukabla karo. Think of it as a challenge and overcome it. So what has happened? My perception, situation is the same. By thinking like this, my cancer will not go away. But my thinking of how to deal with it, how to cope with it, changes. I tell all my patients, you're coming to me. Doesn't mean that your cancer will go away. But what will I do? How will I help you? I will be able to help you by changing your perception. Aapka nazariya. I will change your thinking to improve the ways you can tackle it, you can face it, and you can deal with it, you can cope with it. So that is something. And then I was shocked to find that, now visualize, I'm in my hospital bed and I have had my surgery and someone comes to meet me. And I said, who are you? And she says that I have started a cancer support group. Now imagine, I was so happy. I said, yes, I've done my graduation in social work. I have the gift of the gab. I've done my B.Ed. I can talk to people. I will start a support group. And I told that person, I'm going to go back to Chennai and start. She said, no, you can't. I said, why? You have to be a survivor. I said, what's that? You have to live for 5 years after cancer. And then only can you start this. I said, why? She said, because if you're counseling someone in those 5 years that it takes to become a survivor, takes 5 years after cancer to be called officially a survivor. If something has happened to you, then those people will get disheartened. I got very disheartened. I was very upset because when she spoke about it, my heart, it expanded. It gave me something to live for. It gave me a goal that this is what I'm going to do. And then she said, you can't. You have to wait for 5 years and become a survivor. I was very upset. In any case, I came back to Chennai and my uncle said, there's a friend of his relatives have come from Calcutta. The man has got cancer. He's very low. Will you just go and talk to him? This was December of 98, the year that I had been diagnosed. So thank God, at that point, I never thought about that voice that said, till you are 5 years into survivorship, you cannot counsel patients. I just went and I saw them. This man was sitting like this, slumped. His wife, it was a Muslim family, his wife had a dupatta and she was crying. I walked in and I started talking. And within 15 to 20 minutes, instead of being like this on the bed, he was sitting up like this. And his wife was running around trying to get me tea, coffee. She'd forgotten to cry. Now, what happened? I just went and I spoke positively. I just spoke about my experience, how I had my surgery, how I had 6 chemotherapies, how I had 38 radiations. And I was talking to him and giving him hope and encouragement and the fact that if I can do it, so can you. So what is the ace that I have up my sleeve? I've been there. I've done that. I can understand what you're going through. I understand what your family is going through because mine and I went through the whole of it. And excuse me, if I can do it, so can you. That makes a difference. A psychologist or a doctor going and saying, be positive, will not make that much of a difference. Whereas if someone who says, the patient will say, do you understand what I'm going through? Yes, of course I do. Have you gone through it? No, I've gone through it. I understand. So why, when I am talking to all of you, why is it making an impact? Because I'm talking straight from my heart. I'm talking dil se. I'm talking about something that matters to me. I'm talking out of sheer experience. So that is coming through to you as truth. And because it's coming through to you as truth, it is touching a chord in your heart. And because it is touching a chord in your heart, you are focusing on what I'm saying with your entire attention. So that's another thing, that as you grow up, and you communicate with people, remember, not only do you have to be a good listener, you have to focus your attention on them. Not like you mean it, but you do mean it. You are talking to them out of interest. You're talking to them because you want to get deeper into how they feel, how they think, because you are a loving and concerned person. So that is what makes a difference. That is what tells one person apart from the other. So when I went through all this, it occurred to me that I never waited for 5 years. I immediately, because my uncle said, go and help someone, I immediately went and helped. I didn't wait for 5 years, and thank God I didn't, Madhu, because 7 years later, I was diagnosed with cancer again. That means I would have lost 5 years of experience. And then within 2 years, I would be back again to being what? A patient who would have to wait another 5 years to become a survivor to go back to counseling? No. So I realized that I never gave it 5 years to become a survivor. I conquered it. I overcame it, and I used my father's words. Do not fight cancer, face it. And that is how, Madhu, I became a self-named cancer conqueror and not a survivor, because I never gave myself 5 years to survive it and then to start counseling patients, in which 2 more years later, I would have had to wait for another 5 years to survive it again. So imagine 10 years of my life wasted, whereas now, from the year I was diagnosed, 23 years back, I haven't wasted a single moment. I'm still counseling patients every day. I'm learning about the truths of what I experienced, and I'm sharing it with everyone. And it comes out as truth because it is my truth. I've gone through it, done that, been there, worn those moccasins, and I can talk straight from the heart. They'll say. Does that
Thank you
answer your
so much.
question?
This is really inspiring. Thank you so much. Okay, now as we have started with the second half of our session, I open the floor to questions. And there are some questions in the chat already. So I would
Many
like to,
questions.
All
Many
yeah,
questions.
right.
Madhu,
I have
sorry, I'm
really
interrupting, but
yes.
the way you are telling, ma'am, it's amazing. Girls are fascinated, and so many questions put it in the chat box. Madhu going to take one by one. Okay,
Yes.
Madhu.
If you people have the time of day and night, I have the time of day and night to answer every question.
Great. Thank you so
And Fahim, what happens
So
sometimes that when I'm talking about something, that one example I give may answer 5 or 7 questions in one go. So that is another thing, that a question could be this, but the answer answers not only this question, but many questions.
much.
All yours, Madhu,
this,
go ahead.
okay, Chitra from Haridwar is asking that you are a writer, mentor, guide, you participate in Pinkathons, and you are a full-time counselor. How do you manage to do so many things at one time?
I'm a Gemini, which means
Great. Me too.
what date were you, Fahim?
30th May, ma'am.
Huh? I am 11th of June.
Oh,
So
great.
that also twins, and I also have twins. So people tell me, see, for him, I'm sure you faced this also. People will come and say, oh, two-faced. And
Absolutely.
naturally, I
Every
said,
time.
every time. And guess what I tell them? I said, I'm not two-faced. Inside of me, there's not two people. There are 50 odd people.
Okay.
What do you want to deal with? So
Absolutely.
that's my answer. So I am able to do all these things because I think I'm multitasking, and I am, see, it's very easy now. For instance, I have stopped. I mean, I never ever did prepare for a talk because if you have faith in God, now I'm going to tell you something very beautiful because this is what I believe. You know, people tell me, oh, you are this, you are that, uh, you do this, you do that. And I have just three words. I say, God is great. Why? Because you all know what a flute is like. You all know what a bansuri is. It's 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 a hollow tube with holes in it. And I think all of us are bansuris. We are instruments. And who are we instruments to? We are instruments to God. And I'm hollow. But what happens when God lifts me and whispers into my flute, me, and says, you know what? I think you have this quality. I think that I have given it to you. I know I have given it to you. So why don't you use it? You know what? If you use this quality, you will be able to impact so many people. So he plays a lovely to me, and I feel so happy, so fulfilled, so content. And I just go and play it on further. And when I'm counseling or whatever I'm doing, at the back of my mind is this knowledge that if it was not for the Creator, for the Almighty, I would not be able to do it. So when you now see, this is the important thing. When you put the credit of what you are at someone's feet, then you can also put the discredit of what your mistakes are at someone's feet. So I hold someone up there responsible for whatever I am. I don't take credit or discredit. I'm happily doing what I'm meant to do. I feel it is my vocation,
What दिक्कत है ये?
is what I was born for. So I'm doing it happily. Doesn't that simplify everything? No fault of mine, no credit of mine. I'm doing. Now, people might say, my God, you inspire, you impact, you this, you that. But listen, when I'm doing those things, what about the joy that I get when I'm counseling someone? Someone comes to me with cancer, and the parents have dragged that person, and that person just wants to be left alone. The person just wants to curl up and die, not interested in living, is shattered, is full of self pity, is full of questions like, why me? And what happens? I speak a little, Again, what I speak is something that comes out of me without my thinking. I'm a natural instrument. And that comes out, which is best for that person to hear. And suddenly from this, from resentment, from anger, from shock, the person changes and then listens and wants to know more. And by the time I or we have stopped talking, that person is very keen to get the treatment done. Because I also tell them this. I said that, see, you have had first-hand experience of how you have benefited by talking to me. Now, guess what's going to happen? When you go back after your treatment, everyone in your area will think that, oh, this person has managed to conquer cancer. If anyone in your family is suffering, they will go straight to you. Your community, they will come straight to you. You know what I've done. You will do the same to them. Imagine how much joy you are giving me because you are waiting to get your treatment done. And I'm so happy because I'm telling you, please get your treatment done and come and help me. I need people to help me. And you will pass it on to someone else, to someone else, to someone else. And imagine ripple after ripple of people who will be able to help cancer. And now I need to tell you that I have been counseling cancer patients. But then there are mothers and their husbands and their children and their grandparents. They all come. And then they tell me, oh, you counsel my daughter so beautifully. अब उसका बच्चा पढ़ता नहीं है. That child isn't studying. That child is very naughty. Can you counsel him also? Yeah, sure. Why not? So ripple after ripple of happiness gets spread. And all of it comes back to me multifold, and I benefit because I feel such joy that I've been able to make a chota difference. And that joy that I get is a very bada joy, a big joy. That is what satisfies me, what keeps me going, what makes me happy. Yes, Madhu.
Thank you so much. Okay, next question we have from Komal from Dehradun. She says that the people who suffer from cancer or their families, they feel and have this question of why us. They treat cancer as some sort of punishment. How do
Some sort,
you
some sort of,
want them to tackle it? Some like
sorry,
the cancer is a punishment for them.
punishment.
Yeah. So they question obviously why us? Why did we get this?
Now, what I'm going to tell you now is applicable to all of us. See, when any of us say, why me? I always say that when you question why me, it is because you are full of self-pity. Now use your imagination and follow what I'm saying. So when I am full of self-pity, why me? Why me? What did I do? Manito, I don't even kill a fly. What have I done wrong? Do I deserve it? I don't deserve it. Why me? It is like digging your own grave. So I'm digging, digging, digging. And where is the mud going? The mud is falling on my head and pushing me deeper into my grave. Now you all know Anjanaya or Hanuman. Hanuman is flying above. And he looks down and he sees Neerja. And what is Neerja doing? Digging her own grave and saying, why me, why me, why me? Now, Hanuman is a very helpful person, a very helpful God. He says, oh, Neerja is suffering. Why don't I help Neerja? But is Neerja open and receptive to being helped? No. Why? Because Neerja is so full of why me, मैंने क्या बिगाड़ा है, किसका क्या बिगाड़ा है, what am I going through, why do I have to suffer like this, why, etc. So the first point is never question why me. The second thing is that, all right, these thoughts, cancer is a stigma. If I have cancer, will anyone marry my daughter? If my daughter has it, I will not tell the world that she has cancer so that she can get married. Another stigma, I knew a young mother she had a 6-month baby and she got breast cancer. She stopped touching the baby and her husband and her older son and her parents because she thought, oh, if I touch them, they will get cancer. So 100 years back, okay. 50 years back, fine. But now we are reaching that point that there is gentle spreading of awareness. I remember that when I was in Dehradun, I was there when I was 10 years old. And I remember I got a double promotion. But the fact of the matter is that was then. I tell people, listen very carefully. If anything happens, there are 3 main points. 1, you got cancer. Someone in your family's got cancer. Your neighbor's got cancer. Think of the word cancer as only a word. Nothing more, nothing less. Why? If I am talking about a mug, am I going crazy? Am I sweating? If I'm talking about a cell phone, am I getting hassled? If I'm talking about table, laptop, chair, photograph, statue, no. So why does it happen with the word cancer? Because we have heard so many things. Cancer is this, cancer is bad, you suffer from cancer, you might as well be dead. These have been coming down from generations. So the first thing to think about is, if this person is talking about cancer, has this person gone through it? Does this person know what they're talking? You know what Chinese whispers are now? I will say something to Madhu, Madhu will say something to Muskan, Muskan will talk to Kavita, will talk to Fahim, will talk to Ajira, will talk to Yukta. ऐसे करते करते what I have said will get totally kachra by the time it comes to me. So this is what happens when we think unawares of something. Cancer, 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 cancer. When it comes back, I will say, but I never said that. These are not my words. Listen to me. I'll tell you what cancer is. Cancer is curable. Cancer is easy to overcome. There will be a time when I'll go to a chemist and get my cancer prescription done over the table, come home and have it. Yes, we've gotten rid of so many diseases. Ab COVID aa gaya, this will also go. Some years later, COVID will be a thing of the past. So we must be aware. So first thing is, whatever is happening to you, even if it's cancer, think of it only as a word, nothing more, nothing less. The feelings is what we burden it. The thoughts is what we burden it. And I tell people, this was understandable 100 years back, 50 years back. But do you know something? I was diagnosed in 98 first. Then I was diagnosed in 2004. 98, I had a normal surgery. And they did it on my left armpit and my left breast. And there is such a khadda. But in 2004, I had a microsurgery on the right side. My armpit is intact. There's no such trouble that I had in 98. Oncology. I vomited like anything in 98 because of the side effects of chemotherapy. But what happened in 2004? I didn't vomit even once. So not only was the chemotherapy better, even the medicine utilized for the side effect of chemotherapy improved. So think of the word cancer as only a word. Secondly, the treatment and the diagnosis. Don't think of it as the be all and end all of existence. It's not the end of your life. It's just a bypass or a detour. And you will come back to the same point that you were going to come back earlier. Second point. And the third point is my favorite. Laughter is the best. You can laugh out of any mischief, any mistake, any problem, any suffering. Just remember that. So, does that answer your question, Madhu?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay, moving ahead to
Now,
our next question. Yeah.
if you don't mind, while we are on this topic, there is something called association of ideas. And I get that a lot. So I'm going to give you examples which might help in the larger understanding of life. So one girl came to me. She didn't have one leg because of cancer. She had an artificial leg. But you could never make it out because she always wore dresses and she wore pants and she looked as if she had come out of a Vogue magazine. Perfectly done hair, nails, very titch. She came to me and she sat across on my table and she wept. She cried. I said, "What happened to you?" She said, "Anytime I get pain here, I think the cancers come back. Here, I think the cancers come back. Here, the cancers come back." And she's crying. I wanted to stop her from crying. And I'm thinking, how do I do this? So I just stopped her and I said, "I'm very happy you've come today." She said, "Why?" I said, "Had you come tomorrow, I wouldn't have been here." She said, "Why not?" So I said, "Well, a few days back, I went to see a movie. And when you go for a movie, cold coffee or popcorn to banta hi hai. So I went and had cold coffee and popcorn. When you're eating popcorn, girta hai, it does fall. When I was brushing it off, I suddenly felt a lump and I showed it to her. I said, "You see this lump?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Well, I'm leaving early morning tomorrow for Bombay and I'm going to get a surgery done." Now, if she was crying earlier, She broke down and she was, I said, what's happened to you? She said, how unfair. I said, unfair for what? She said, obviously she had gone to Google and she studied about me. She'd gone to YouTube and she'd heard my videos. She said, you've gone through broken bones, you've gone through miscarriage, you've gone through stillborn, you've gone through cancer twice, you've gone through premature twins, you've gone through uterus removal. She had my background and I said, oh, damn, yes, I've gone through all this. So I said, 1 minute, you're crying for me? You're saying it's unfair for me? She said, yes. And I said, but do you see me crying for me? No. I said, do you see me saying it's unfair for me? She said, no. So I said, now listen carefully. And this is what I want all of you children to listen to very carefully. I said, I am certain of only two things. And I touched the corner on the left side, the corner of my table, and I said, that I'm born. And I touched the corner of my right-hand side, and that I will die. I'm just certain I'm born, I will die. Now, in between all that happens to me, if I keep thinking that this is the end all and be all of existence, I told her, I said, Hindi mein, we have a phrase, mar ke jeena. I translated it into English because she didn't know Hindi. I said, dying, living. So I said, so much has happened to me in my life. That means that I will spend my whole life dying, living. I will not live because I have a Damocles sword, or I have cancer twice, septicemia thrice, ye wa wo wa. I said, and I might walk across the road and a lorry might come and hit me. And I won't even know I'm dead. So why would I bother about death? This made such an impact on her. She wiped her tears. A month later, she came with a very handsome young man. I said, who's this? And she said, he's my fiance. I wanted to introduce you to him. I am getting married next month. So isn't that beautiful? She didn't have a leg, but she picked up that example of mar ke jeena. She learned how to live thereafter, not worried about whether cancer will come back, whether this will happen, that will happen, but to live, as I started talking to you children, to live every moment to the fullest. Does that answer many questions of yours, Madhu?
Yes, ma'am. And we have a question related to what the story you shared. Vandana from Gurugram is asking that sometimes a daughter is given less preference for treatment of cancer as compared to a boy. Have you ever dealt any case of such kind?
More than in cancer, I've come across this a lot in education. Definitely in education, because they feel that when a girl reaches the 8th standard, she needn't study thereafter, a boy will study. My aunt, who was a professor in the Madras School of Social Work, her name was Kanan Verma. She started something called Sankalp Education for the Girl Child. And she realized that this is what was happening in education, that girls would be made to study only till the 8th standard, and then made to sit at home, work at home. Boys were made to study further. So you know what she did when she retired? She started Sankalp, education for the girl child. She went to some schools. She spoke to the principal, the teachers, and she took three girls from one eighth standard class in one school who were doing very well, but were from a poor background and could not afford to study. And she went to the principal and the teachers and she made a home visit. She went home and she said, I am going to take the responsibility of making your daughter study. I'm going to make her, give her uniform. I'm going to give her books and the fees. And I love Udayan Care because it resonates with what my aunt did in Chennai in 1991. I think Udayan Care is now 25 years old. This was 91. Oh, this was 30 years back. So her thinking was that you educate a girl child and you educate a family and a community and thereby the nation. But this is a strange and very uh, different kind of question because no, Madhu, I haven't come across this in the cases that I have seen because here I guess it's the life of a child, not so much as a girl child or a boy child, and they are willing to do anything, whatever, go to any lengths. But yes, there is one thing that comes to my mind now, which I felt very bad at that time. And it was that women who were going through breast cancer, a lot of their husbands left them. So that was a gender issue then, but not for the treatment of a boy or a girl child or a boy, either boy or girl. But yes, men behaved in a manner that I found was very sad when they would leave their wife and mostly with the children and uncaringly just move out of their life without any responsibility. So this thanks to your question, this uh, over my through my 23 years of uh, dealing with cancer patients, this is what I have come across. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Next question is from Akansha from Thane. She says a lot of people who have survived cancer, they don't want to disclose it. They fear boycott from the family or from the society also. How do we help them to overcome this stigma?
Well, I guess I am trying to be a good example because the way I talk to people is that see we are very lucky to have experienced something. We have come out of it with courage and with zip and zing and josh and zinda dili. And if we are able to share this with others, then they can just get inspired. And if we can do it, so can they. But Madhu, I will tell you from my viewpoint that every person has a right to their opinion. There is a very dear friend of mine, And she learned from me that when you talk, you are able to, 1 second, children. Varsha, I'm on a web call. I'll just call you back. Varsha, I'm on a web call. I'll call you back, Varsha. Bye. Sorry, kids. So, what was I talking about, Madhu? Just remind me, please. There was this friend of mine who learnt as an example from me that she could talk to others about how she was facing it. She used to wear beautiful wigs. She used to wear colorful scarves. She used to wear colorful clothes. And she became like a role model. Then her daughter got married. She was still the role model mother. Then her daughter had children. She was the role model grandmother. Then her daughter told her, Mama, I don't want you to talk about your cancer. Now she could have said, oh, but she stepped back. She thought about it. And she said that if her daughter is requesting her not to talk about cancer because you don't know how little children will feel and so on and so forth, then she would gladly agree. And earlier, where she used to support me in all my programs, she very sweetly has requested me that, I will not be coming again because this is what my daughter has said. So that's her decision. That is her daughter's decision. And I will not find fault with it because every person has a right to live their life the way they want to. And that is what a democratic country is all about. So does that answer your question, Madhu?
Yes, ma'am, very well. Thank you. Next question is from Shitu from Gurugram. She says, nowadays everybody is running behind achieving something or the other, a big house, a big car, or any other thing. Just they just want to achieve a lot of things. And in this journey of achieving things, they usually forget people and importance of life. What advice would you give them?
So, the best way to tackle such things, let's word the question differently. Let's word the question that, see, that person is so busy with his or her life, she's not taking care of her parents. How would we tackle that? So, or another way of looking at it is that I don't want to trouble my family. An elderly mother or father is saying this because I don't want to burden them with my cancer treatment. So how do I tackle that? I catch hold of the parent who is going through cancer and I tell them that, listen, you spent your whole life looking after your children. Now, you have looked after your children. Give them the opportunity or the joy of looking after you. Why are you feeling that you are a burden to them? Did you think they were a burden when you were looking after them? No, then why should you think that you are a burden to them? So we are now seeing from both sides. So this is what I would do, that you as a young achiever have set goals for yourself. I got to do this, tick, 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 my bucket list. I want to uh, study well. I want to get this award. I want to do that, that, that. And in that, you are neglecting your family, your friends. You might be neglecting yourself because you're driven hard with passion to achieve, 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 achieve. So the advice here is, this is my hairbrush. I, Neerja, I'm going through something. So what will I do? I wanted to get a pen, but doesn't matter. I make a circle in front of me. And I put my hairbrush or whatever, a pen, right in the center of the circle. And then I say that that is Neerja. I am not Neerja. I'm out of the circle. That is Neerja. Now, when I do that, what happens? I am looking at myself objectively. I've stepped back and I'm seeing what Neerja is in that situation. If I am Neerja in the circle, then I am looking at it subjectively. If I'm Neerja out of the circle, I'm seeing what is happening to Neerja objectively. Okay. So this is what we have to tell that person to do. That please, this is your circle. You keep a pen inside. You step out. Now, how are you, the pen, acting with all the people around you? Or how are your goals affecting everyone around you? Or how is your overachieving even affecting you? Are you overdoing it? Are you burning out? Are you not paying attention to your health and happiness? Are you losing out on sleep? Are you feeling fatigued and tired? Is this rut helping you? Now, if you're within that, you may not be able to think clearly. Whereas if you step out of a situation, and you can do this for anything that you or anyone is going through, when you're out of the situation, you are able to look in and objectively see the answers. Keep a pen, keep a paper, start journaling, and write down what you think. Now, in the good old days, we had friends. We used to use them as sounding boards. I'm going through this, this, this. What should I do? Nowadays, we may be restricting ourselves or we don't want to share ourselves. So what do? We share ourselves with ourselves on paper and pen. And we get clarity of thought. That I am overdoing things. I'm not feeling good. I've stopped communicating. I've become a recluse. I'm not happy. I'm just work, 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 work. Achieve, achieve, achieve. That is how we tell people. Just put these points down. 10 pros, 10 cons, 10 more of what you could do, 10 points of your past, 10 points of your present, 10 points of your future. Which is better? Where would you like to be? Where are you at this moment? When you think of all these things, when you write these things, they become clearer and you're able to step out of it, look objectively, and come to a decent conclusion. And only then can we move out of it and move on. Does that answer you, Madhu?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Next, we have a very interesting question from Simran from Haridwar. She is asking that, ma'am, I wonder that even after being through so many challenges, what has instilled your faith in God? Because usually after going through so much, people tend to move away from that faith.
Yeah, I know people who go through cancer and they lose their faith completely. They say, they start with why me? मैंने क्या किसका बिगाड़ा है? Who have I harmed? I haven't even killed a fly. And then they start feeling resentment. I had faith in you and you have taken it away. So they start blaming God for all their troubles. Just like this, there was a very good tennis player and he had trophies galore. His life was perfect. And he was stricken by, I forget whether it was cancer or AIDS. I think it was AIDS. What happened is that he needed a blood transfusion and he managed to get AIDS because of that. So there was a press conference and all these people asked him, they said, aren't you angry with God? Aren't you upset that this is what he's done to you? And you were doing so well. You got so many trophies. You were living life to the fullest. Aren't you upset with him that he has brought you down to this? And I love the answer he gave the press. He told them, he said, when I was doing so well in tennis, when I was getting all my trophies, when I was winning every tournament, I never stopped to question God. Hey, why me? Why am I getting all these things? I got them. I took them. I enjoyed them. And if I could enjoy that, I have no right to question God now. Did I question him when I was getting those? Not at all. I grabbed them. Do I have a right to ask him now, what are you giving me? Didn't he give you so much? Didn't he give me so much? I have no right to ask him that. So this is what I feel. He never lost his faith. And I'll tell you the 10 treasures in my life. Listen carefully. These are the treasures that I've put in my book called I Inspire, which is about my life from a child right up to 2015. The first treasure is love. They say love conquers everything. Second treasure is fun and laughter. The third treasure is God. Now, what happens is that if you have the fourth treasure, which is faith in God and belief in God, then the fifth treasure is miracles happen. Now, a miracle can be anything. The way I looked at it is I had so many troubles. And then a miracle, I call my babies the miracle babies. the precious pregnancies. So I am open to weighing the pros and the cons. I will not think that I went through cancer. I will think that I came out of it. I will not think that I went through septicemia 3 times and I had 210 injections in the jugular vein because the veins on my arms cannot be used. The veins on my feet from 2004 to 2018 have been used for every blood test, for every injection. They collapsed. So they had to keep making holes here to give me 210 injections over 10 weeks to get out of septicemia 3 times. I'm not questioning it. What am I thinking of? In spite of all this, I'm alive. In spite of all this, I'm there. In spite of all this, my children are with me. In spite of all this, I am addressing these young kids. I'm talking to them from my heart. I've got the opportunity to be able to communicate with them. So what am I doing? I am looking for the positive in everything. I'm grateful for what I have. And therefore, if that is the attitude, you will never lose your faith. Because you always think that whatever is happening to you is happening for the best. You will always think that God is like your mother, father, guru, friend. He has given you so many wonderful people in your parents, in your sister, in your in-laws, in your husband, in your friends. And you will just keep that in mind and feel stronger and better. Because whatever I went through, not once did I think, why me? I just said, okay, you've given this to me, it's your problem, give me a solution, I'm free. So I'm free to talk to each of you, to share with you, because I know that I'm speaking from the heart, that it will make an impression, if not on 100 of you, at least 1 or 2 or 3. I'm happy. So that is one way of not losing your faith. That whatever comes your way, you've given it to me, help me out of it, and I will do it. And thank you for all that you've done. You've been with me throughout. I'm grateful. And however long I have to live, I know that you will never leave my side. You will always be with me. So does that answer that question?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, you were told us about the 10 treasures of life and you completed till miracles. What comes after that?
Sorry. After miracles, guess what? Death is also a treasure. Because that's the 5th treasure, because it teaches you acceptance. If you can accept something, then you can move on. When you accept, then you have what I was talking about, the attitude of gratitude. When you have the attitude of gratitude, then you get abundance in everything. And when you get abundance in everything, then you live in the now. So that are the 10 treasures of my life that are with me all the time. God is with me, my parents, you girls, you, every one of you is now a part of my life. So imagine, I am just one person giving all of you love, but there's 100 of you giving me that love. So who's better off? You guys or I? Yes, Madhu, this is, you can always think of something like this or like that. And the best is to think in those ways that make you happy and therefore healthy. Yes?
Yes. And as we are now coming towards the end of our session, can I request all our Shalini
Yeah,
listeners?
1 minute. Uh, can I request you to just give
Hmm.
me few minutes of your time?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
This is a very interesting, very simple thing I want to share with you. I have a body. My body creates. It doesn't understand, but it creates. So when I'm happy, when I'm laughing, when I'm joyous, my body creates happy hormones or endorphins. I'm exercising, happy hormones and endorphins. I'm eating something that I love, happy hormones and endorphins. I'm playing a game with my friends, happy hormones and endorphins. Anything that I love and am enjoying. Now, let us say, on the other hand, this is all positive. On the other hand, let's think of the negative. And what is the negative? I'm grumbling, I'm crying, I'm complaining, I'm blaming, I'm angry, I'm resentful, I'm upset. What is my body do? My body just knows how to create. So if I'm angry, upset, resentful, miserable, negative, it will create toxins. So what does my body do? It creates, if I'm happy, endorphins. If I'm unhappy, toxins. Now, supposing there is a fight between the endorphins and the toxins in my body, which will win? That which I have more of. So if I have more of happy hormones, then they will win and they will destroy and consume all the toxins. And I'll be healthy and happy. But if I am angry, upset, resentful, miserable, complaining, blaming, what will my body do? It will make more toxins. And when there are more toxins and there is a fight, the toxins will destroy the happy hormones or endorphins, and the toxins will win. Now, when the toxins win, I become like that. When the endorphins win, I become like that. Just remember that in our lives, it's my choice as to be happy or unhappy. If I'm happy, my endorphins are more. If I'm unhappy, my toxins are more. So, what have I done from the beginning of my life? Whatever has come my way, good, bad, or ugly, I have always laughed, loved, enjoyed, which meant lots of endorphins and lots of happy hormones. And you see me in front of you. This is a simple but a very important learning lesson for all of you. Now you may continue. Thank you, Madhu.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, as we come towards the end of today's session, can I invite Garima ma'am to give a quick vote of thanks?
Ma'am, you are on
You
mute.
are on mute, yeah.
Uh, Neerja ma'am, thanks for such a
Yes.
lovely speech. I'm Garima Singh. I'm associated with the USF of Udayan Care. I'm senior manager here. And I would like to extend thanks to you on behalf of Udayan Care You are such an inspiration to all of us. And I should say it was heartwarming to know that in 1998, that time when hardly any awareness was there about the cancer, now we speak a lot about it. You were so courageous despite going through all that pain after the treatment. I know how it is. I have a lot of friends who have been through this. And you decided to go out and counsel other person who was in pain. It takes a lot of guts and it speaks volume about your personality. And other thing I would like to say is that, I can totally relate with your father, true defense officer. I'm also wife of Indian naval officer and was very happy to know about it, that yes, I could understand like from where he's speaking, being so courageous despite knowing his daughter is diagnosed with cancer. What worse can come to a parent? Despite that, he was giving you all the advice. And I think you took all the motivation from them to be so positive. I feel that way because parents were there always, with you, rather than putting a grim face. They told you to face the problem. So your advice to all of us is very, very precious, and we will cherish for life. And especially will never say why me, despite what come may. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank
It was pleasure to hear.
thank you so much. Garima, which city are you in?
I'm in Delhi, ma'am. My husband is posted here. He's a Commodore in Indian Navy at the moment.
I am perhaps coming to Delhi early next month. I hope that we can at least connect on the phone and speak if we cannot meet.
I will surely meet. I'll make it a point to tell me wherever you are, I'll come. And I'll invite you over. It'll be a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, Neerja ma'am, for your precious time. Actually, so I loved very much because the way you tell the things in a very very calm and cool way. Because one thing I got to know that you are a Gemini, and I'm very very short temper, and so people says Geminis are like that, but you are so calm that I'm not. So I would love to get a tip on that, how we can keep us cool and calm so that we can handle things easily, because that's the key to handle the things.
So, if you just think of one thing, that if I'm angry, who am I harming? Once I became very angry and I went to my spiritual godmother and I told her, I said, this friend of mine, how can she think of me like this? I don't even remember what she thought, but it must have hurt me deeply for me to go to my spiritual godmother and say, she knows me for such a long time and she thought this about me. How can she? I was very upset. I was very angry, resentful, fuming. And my spiritual godmother told me something that I will never forget. She said, see, remember one thing, that each of us is at a different level. Now, let's say that you are here, suppose, and she is here. Will the two of your minds work at the same pace? Will she understand what you're trying to say? No. Now, the next thing is very important. She says, your levels are different in life. No two people are going through the same challenges, the same things. If you are here and she is here, it doesn't, this is important, it doesn't make you more superior. If she is there, her level, there is a Hindi word for it called sthiti. अगर उसकी स्थिति कहीं और है और तुम्हारी कुछ और है, if your level and hers are two different things, you are not superior to her, nor are you inferior to her. But trying to make her understand what you are thinking is like hitting your head against a wall or a mountain. Will that help? No. Now she will think of something about you and she will forget. But who will keep thinking? I will think and think and think. And if Garima has said 20 lovely things about me, and Jate Jate Garima says one negative thing, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to think not of the 20 nice things. I will think of that one negative thing. And I will focus my entire attention on that one negative thing and make my life hell. Has it affected Garima? No. Who has it affected? Fahim? No. Madhu? No. It has affected me because I am a human with a nak, and I think that I am going to focus on this because it gives me some kind of peace. Why? Because I feel that if I think like this, I am in the right. But is it helping me? No. And Garima will say what she has to and she'll move on. I will think, oh my God, she said that. Why did she say this? How could she think of me like this? Am I living my life? No, I'm living my life on Garima's terms. So I love one phrase, Hindi. Raat gayi, baat gayi. Raat gayi, baat gayi. And the other thing is, I have to step back, see that Garima said 21 things. Hey, out of those 21 things, 20 things were so good. She spoke about how I spoke, or what I smiled, or what a sharp nose I have, on how clean my nails are, whatever. So I am the one. It's my problem. I should focus on the positive, not the negative. Now, another thing which the Gita talks about all the time in simple words is that if I have expectations and those expectations are not fulfilled, it leads to anger. Fine? It leads to anger, which can then become uncontrollable. And who am I harming? My blood pressure is rising, my heart is beating fast, I'm making myself tense, my body is creating toxins. Whereas if I step back and I think that, okay, Neerja is there and she's feeling angry about what Garima said. Why is that so? And I have a paper and a pen and I realize, oh my God, Garima said 21 things and maybe she'd forget what she said. And it is her right to say what she says, but it is my right to take how she has said whatever. It's my choice to focus on that one negative or the 20 positive. And it's my choice to move on, or it's my choice to sit and crib. And who suffers? Neerja. So that is how Neerja has to think when Neerja wants to pull out the hair of someone or smack someone, because it is up to Neerja what Neerja chooses to do with her life. It is up to Neerja whether she wants happy hormones and endorphins or she wants toxins. Toxins are not good, I can tell you, because chemotherapy that I've had is probably the most toxic stuff that my body could take. So it's up to me. I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to enjoy. I want to love everyone. I want to embrace everyone. I want to be khush,
Thank
peaceful, harmonious. Does that
thank you
answer
so
your
much.
question for me?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye, ma'am. See you soon. First week of
Yes.
June in Delhi.
First week of May.
Oh, May. So it's very close. Yeah. So we will meet. We will meet definitely.
As they say,
Thank
inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye,
God bless.
everyone. Bye bye, ma'am. Bye bye.
Can I take 2 minutes of your time? 2 minutes.
Okay.
When my children, Shivani and Siddharth, could speak, I told them, say the Gayatri Mantra 3 times. Say Ikumkar Satnam once, say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah once, say thank you God for the world so sweet, thank you God for the food we eat, thank you God for the birds that sing, thank you God for everything. And then you will say, you will speak to God whatever you want to say. So when children are little, they follow what the mother says, and this carried on very peacefully for many years. One year, they both came to me and looking up at me, they said, Mama, what are we? So, what do you mean? No, Mama, are we Hindu? Are we Muslim? Are we Sikh? Are we Christian? What are we? So, why are you asking me this? No, we went to Hari's house and he had one big room with all kinds of things in it. And we said, what is this? And they said, this is a puja room. And then they asked me, don't you have a puja room? So then we told, no, our mother has all these things all over the house and in cupboards and on the shelves and all. Then the next question was, what do you pray? So these two stood over there and they said the Gayatri Mantra, then they said Ekumkar, then they said La ilaha, then they said thank you God, and then they said now we speak to God whatever we want to say. That is why they were asked, but what are you? Are you Hindu? Are you Muslim? Are you Sikh? Are you Christian? What? Mama, what are we? So I just told them one thing. I said, these differences are all man-made. If anyone asks you, what are you? Just say that we are citizens of the world. They turned 14, my twins turned 14. I went to the hospital with my daughter. A form came that said, what are you? What is your religion? And I wrote over there, I wrote over there Indian. Because in Indian, you have all these plus Parsis and Jews and lots of things. I feel very proud of myself. You know what my daughter did? She snatched the pen from my hand. She said, and she scratched Indian. What is she going to write? And she wrote, universal. I was very happy that this is an idea that there is no difference between us. And you, as young Shalinis, have your whole life in front of you. If you remember that this is what you have to go through life, that each of us are the same. A child in Japan, a child in India, and a child in China or America, when that dies, they sound the same. When they laugh, they sound the same. When they bleed, the same blood comes of them. So let us just join our hands in our hearts and say that we are all one. Hum sab ek hai. There is no separation between any of us. And that is one way of making this world a more peaceful and a more harmonious one. So I can keep talking forever, but thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.